There are so many factors that need to be just right when you're trying something at the limit of what's possible. Some of them you can control, and some of them you can't. And to get everything to walk into place at the same time can be incredibly frustrating.
Tääkin olisi kyllä tietty aika kova vetää tää pitkä linkki.
Niin kuin ekan jälkeen.
Niin, kun sitä mä enkin tehnyt täällä vetää.
Joo.
Se oli viimeksi kyllä aika lähellä.
Joo.
Sitten se olisi melkein siinä.
Niin.
Taas kerran.
Kyllä.
Oltais tässä tilanteessa, että sit olisi totuuden paikat. Oli ihan kylmä. Joku päivä kun pääsis itse vaikuttaa tähän lopputulokseen. Mutta en mä nyt ole vielä näinä vuosina varmaan rehellistä mahdollisuutta ansainnut, että näillä mennään. Ehkä joku vuosikymmen. Tai ehkä ei.
Well, I think it was fall of 2013. My friend Marco, he showed me this project they'd found, I think, the year before, and they tried the moves a little bit. He was like, might be an 8C project, whatever, too hard for us, you know. And I went and took a look at it when it was still kind of like end of summer. It was too warm to climb on it, but the season started getting better. Went back to the project and started actually trying it. Couldn't really do any of the moves at first, and then went back another time. Couldn't really do that many moves. Went back another time. Couldn't do that much again. It's gonna be so hard to fucking keep it together that whole time. You're not gonna be able to breathe.
Yeah, this left hand's bad. To like grab it like fucking all weird like that.
Mm-hmm.
Ah! Oh no, and then
I think
get your thumb in front of you, fucking do something fucked up.
Huh.
oh, that took work.
That looked really
Did I
good.
use this one? That season, I think I started realizing that it was actually way harder than I thought, and well, I thought it was possible, but I think there's a big difference between thinking that something is possible and knowing that something is possible. Projects like this are actually incredibly rare. Find a project at this specific level, you know, where it's just on that hair-thin line between impossible and possible. Name any of the hardest boulders in the world. You can usually do the moves in a session. And I spent like 10 sessions on this thing and still hadn't even done all the individual moves. The starting holds are 2 opposing crimps. You pull on in compression, put your left foot on a little chip, and the right foot goes on a little angled, slick foot that you need to drill your toe into. The next hold is this V-shaped crimp that you have to hit really precisely. The first move is one of the hardest moves I've ever done. First, you need to lean out a little bit to get in the right path to dead point to the crimp. It seems it's all about just snagging that right hand crimp, but the real difficulty is keeping tension in the right foot so it doesn't slip and maintaining compression with the hands. The move is so complex that it's almost impossible to do it the same way twice in a row.
Yes! Hyvä. Sehän meni mut hit.
The middle section consists of a tiny left-hand crimp that can be used as an intermediate, a really slick, slopey right-hand pinch for 3 fingers, and kind of a weird angled Gaston with the left hand right above the pinch. So the sequence I came up with was with the really high right foot, flagging under, punching to the small left-hand crimp.
Hyvä.
Vitsi, se on aika hyvä.
Still with the same right foot, rolling through and hitting the left-hand Gaston. And after this, you could match on the right-hand pinch. From there, all you have is a sloper right below the lip.
Yep.
I tried to dyno to the sloper a lot with both hands. And the only way I could stick it was dynoing through with the left. After the dyno, the top out is not as hard, but you still need to keep it together.
Toisin vaan alusta vetää.
I think generally when you're working on a hard boulder problem, you kind of go about it the same way every time. You try to do the individual moves. Once you do the individual moves, you try to do little links of like 3-4 moves. Then you try to link it in 2 sections and you try and do it. And I was kind of in that mindset of just applying the same formula to this boulder problem, still thinking it was going to be a lot easier than it turned out to be. At the end of that season, I managed to do a really good link from the start. I was really happy, but at the same time, I also realized that I just climbed into a dead end. I didn't have the middle or the ending nearly wired enough to have a chance to get to the top. And then summer came and it became too hot to even do the individual moves anymore, so that was kind of that for that spring season. Essentially in the first season, all I managed to do was the individual moves. And then coming back the next year, I started trying to make some links. So logically I started trying to link the boulder from the bottom, like you would on any other boulder. But now looking back later, I don't think that was really necessarily the best thing to do. Coming back the next fall, my goal was to work on the middle and the upper part. So if I did manage to get through the bottom ever, I'd actually have a chance of getting to the top.
Tästä olisi niinku nyt uusi linkki, mitä mä en ole ikin päässyt.
Toi olisi kova linkki, jos ton.
Se olisi 2 pätkässä. Ei nyt saman seasonina vielä, mutta
Niin.
kevää tähän ja sit syksyllä tästä toppii. Se on vuoden aika kuitenkin. Oi, se oli lähellä. Ai, mä luulin jo hetken, että mä sain sen, mut ei. Oh.
It was that year when I made the first major link, you could say, from the small left-hand crimp and the right-hand crimp all the way to the dyno hold, and stuck the dyno and climbed and topped it out.
Yes! Ah. Woo!
Even though that's not that many moves, it felt like that was the first time I was actually doing some climbing on the boulder problem. So the strategy of working it from the top down was working, but that was pretty late in the season already. It took me a long time to get the middle part figured out and to get the dyno wired, so it was only then when I really seriously started putting time into the first and the second move again.
Oi, korjaista.
Mitä tuntoa missään?
Joo, ja kyllä se on liian kylmä nyt vaan, niin kuin mä...
I couldn't do the bottom this season. I didn't have the dynamic strength at that time. I don't know if anything great would ever be achieved by looking at it honestly.
Cut, that was great. Was it? You know,
I think, at least for me, the only way to deal with something when you're like way in over your head, you know, is to kind of break it down in little pieces and not try to look at the terrifying reality of what you're up against. So coming back to fourth season, I was trying to keep in mind what had gone well and what hadn't gone well the previous 2 seasons. So I set a trainer at the gym and really worked on getting that dynamic power for the first move. Even though I'd done the first move already a year ago, it was always really low percentage. I'd stick it maybe 1 out of 20 tries, if lucky.
Yes. Yes.
vaikea muuvi. Se on niin vaikea.
So after focusing on the first move more so than anything else, it was going better than ever. I was doing it maybe 3 times in a good session, which was a lot better than ever. I think it was then when I figured out a new foot sequence for the middle.
tuntui hyvältä. Mulla oli vähän huonosti tää.
After working on the bottom section and getting that to a good point, and having the upper section go pretty well from the seasons before already, I finally, for the first time ever, I think I got to a point where I actually realized that I had what it takes to climb this boulder.
Oh!
I also started realizing that being able to physically climb this boulder isn't enough. There are a bunch of other factors that all have to come together at the same time. The skin, air temperature, rock temperature, air humidity, wind, and a whole number of others. And these I have no control over.
Vittu mitä saatana luistelua. Tää on ihan kauhea kitka nyt. Ihan kamalaa, vittu toi. Ei siellä oo mitään, millä vois koittaa vittu tehdä jotain samaa vastaavaa liikettä kuin mikä on jossain mun projektin lopussa, koska tää ei liity siihen vittuun millään, vitun saatanan. Nyt on vittu sormessa reikä käytännössä ja voi vittu tää on oikeesti niin.
It's really hard to put into words because obviously you have a lot of doubts about the whole process, whole seasons where you don't really progress. Why do you keep going back year after year? That's like the famous quote from Einstein. He said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. But you just keep going back and there seems to be no logic to it sometimes. Still, as much doubt as I have about it, I've never really considered the possibility of failing to climb this boulder. That doesn't make any sense, but that's the way it is. You get the window, which is, a pretty big window, a couple months, 3 months maybe even. But when that 2-3 months isn't enough, then you have a problem. So I pretty much flew back home the day that the cold conditions arrived, having just days before sent this project in Australia and feeling really, really in shape.
Oh, yeah! Aika hyvä.
Immediately, as I expected, it felt way better than it had any of the previous seasons just coming to it. One major thing that changed from the seasons before was that I finally managed to find a way to do the jump right-handed. This way feels equally powerful, but maybe a little bit less down to luck. In October, I managed to climb the biggest link so far, pulling on after the first move and climbing all the way to the top.
Wow, siinä oli vika linkki nyt. No huhhuh.
Aika jees.
Oi.
Tää oli erittäin hyvä setti.
Paras.
Joo.
Paras setti.
Vitsi, ensi kerralla vois kyllä mennä. Ihan oikeesti. Niin voi kehtaa ihan ääneen sanoa.
Pysy.
Oli aika kova. Ei vitsi.
Nalle! Älä pidä liian pitkää breikkiä, toi menee nyt. Ihan vittu.
So the last session I hit my high point and was finally, after all these seasons, feeling like I had a chance to climb the boulder. And that was it. That was the end of the season and the winter came and there was nothing else to do. It was beyond frustrating because I'd worked so hard for seasons and seasons to get to that level and dreamed of that moment when I actually feel like I can do the boulder. At least I have a shot to climb the boulder. I still waited and waited. I was hoping the weather to get better. I was hoping for that one last chance, but just never got it. The next season, season 6, I came back from the US in time to get ready for the project again when the season starts, but it was a really late winter. And when the weather finally got good, I had Jimmy and Daniel and Dave Graham visiting me, and that was the first day of the season that I actually got to climb on the boulder.
It's all dry.
Getting to work on the boulder with some of the best climbers in the world was huge for me, just for the motivation alone.
Gumba, find it.
Yeah.
I can't get my foot up any higher, so that move is a bit too much of a swing.
Yeah, that's exactly what you just did there. I did for like 4 seasons, and I was just jumping left hand all the time. I showed Jimmy my Veda, and straight away Jimmy didn't really think that this way was going to work for him, so he instantly started looking for something else to do.
Just trying to see if I could like. Yeah, that would work for me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Jimmy found this really far away foot outright that I always thought was just way too far to be used. So what this foothold enabled you to do was match the middle crimp, get your thumb on it by removing the index finger on the right hand. after which you could punch straight away to the dyno hold right-handed. It was difficult and I wasn't sure if it was actually going to be a better method. The problem was getting my foot out that far. It was kind of an extra move on its own just to get it out there.
It's so slippery.
After a lot of indecision, I decided to settle with the new beta. Mostly I think because I felt like this new beta was perhaps a little less down to luck.
No nyt on aika hyvin sekvenssi kasassa.
On se.
This season, spring was late and summer came really early. The window was even smaller than usual and I just ran out of time. I started to wonder if it was even possible to win at this game. Looking at the past 3 years and looking at the cold hard fact that I've spent maybe 80 days trying this boulder, not counting the days I've specifically spent training in the gym for this. And what I've spent previously on any of my hardest descents, I think 13 days is the longest. So if you compare 13 days to 80 plus days, that's a pretty major contrast. One thing that's really changed over the years that I've noticed at least is that at first I just went there to rock climb, you know, it was just a boulder problem that you're trying to climb. You put your climbing shoes on and you put chalk in your hands and you try to climb to the top of the rock, you know. I don't feel like it is about rock climbing at this point anymore. It's become almost about something else. When I go to the Lappnor project, I feel like climbing is the platform for playing the game that I'm playing. You've been trying something for years and years and years and investing all your energy into it for years. Years, that's a long time to just singularly be focused on one single thing and sacrifice so many things for it, and you just do it like that. It's just over. It's not like, here's the try, you know, here's the one try that matters. It's just that one out of a million, and one of them's gonna work, you know. It's like, it's that one. Today wasn't exactly supposed to be a climbing day. It was supposed to be another rest day. I got to the boulder really late. Set up the lights, set up the camera. I was by myself today, so just sat down, you know, gave it another try, you know, a millionth try. I've tried the boulder.